In a groundbreaking investigative report published by the New York Times on December 16, 2017, the United States Defense Department acknowledged for the first time the existence of a highly classified program it began funding in 2007 to investigate military personnel reports of unidentified flying objects. The reporting is based on highly redacted government documents and interviews with dozens of Defense Department leaders. Official video footage, such as this UFO encountered by U.S. Navy pilots hovering over the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California, also sheds light on the existence and operations of the highly secretive Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP, which is the first publicly acknowledged government-funded research into UFOs since Project Blue Book concluded nearly 50 years ago. Project Blue Book was a series of studies funded by the U.S. Air Force from 1947 to 1968 to investigate thousands of alleged UFO sightings. According to the project's official findings, most of the 12,618 sightings formally investigated ended up being misidentifications of, quote, stars, clouds, conventional aircraft, or spy planes. And although 701 of the investigated incidences are still classified as unexplained, the Air Force maintains that not a single incident posed a threat to national security and that, quote, there was no evidence indicating that any sightings were extraterrestrial vehicles, or represented technological developments or principles beyond the range of present-day scientific knowledge. In the years since, however, reports of UFO sightings by military members continued without any formal follow-up or investigation, fueling fears among some that these sightings indicated the potential existence of technological capabilities far greater than the United States military possesses, even some that seemed to escape the bounds of the known physical universe. With these concerns in mind, in 2007, then Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid included a funding request for the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program in the annual budget. A Democrat from Nevada, a place long associated with reports of UFO sightings, Reid has been interested in unusual space phenomena for decades, and today considers the program, quote, one of the good things I did in my congressional service. In order to keep the program top secret, it was funded by so-called black money and included as an indiscriminate line item in the Pentagon's budget for classified programs. The $22 million appropriation would fund the covert program as it fulfilled its purpose of investigating reports of UFO sightings by military personnel, including the commission of a threat assessment to determine how threatening the UFOs are to the U.S. military and national security. Only 3 senators knew of the program's existence when it was created, largely in response to a growing concern that some unknown foreign power, be it the Chinese, Russians, or even an extraterrestrial entity, could have developed some next-generation weaponry that posed a grave threat to the United States. If the threat were real, the senators and Defense Department officials wanted to keep their knowledge of it secret. Much of the $22 million funded a government contract to Bigelow Aerospace, a Las Vegas-based research company founded by longtime friend and campaign contributor to Harry Reid, Robert Bigelow, an eccentric billionaire who famously claims to be, quote, absolutely convinced that extraterrestrial life has visited humans on Earth. It is rumored that Bigelow, along with the late former astronaut and Senator John Glenn, was instrumental in encouraging Reid to create and fund the program. The effort was coordinated from the 5th floor of the Pentagon by military intelligence official Luis Elizondo and consisted of several different avenues of research. For years, military service members were reluctant to report encounters with mysterious aircraft or observations of aircraft behaving strangely to their superiors for fear of being mocked or dismissed. So the first task of the program was to formally document these reports, creating what are known as Queried Unverified Event Under Evaluation reports. Extensive interviews were conducted with fighter pilots and other service members who had reported strange encounters, such as seeing aircraft shoot across the sky at extreme velocities, or observing a disc-like craft hovering in the sky without a form of propulsion. The program also collected materials alleged to be recovered from UFO crash sites, which it contracted Bigelow Aerospace to store and analyze in an undisclosed location somewhere in Nevada. People who claimed to have interacted with or encountered the unidentified objects also underwent significant and invasive medical testing to determine if there were any measurable physiological changes as a result of the interaction. Due to the highly secretive nature of the work, the results of the research and details of the investigations are unavailable to the public, But one stunning piece of evidence analyzed by the AATIP was released to the public in August 2017. A video segment that shows an encounter between two U.S. Navy F/A-18 Super Hornet fighter jets and a UFO. The incident occurred in November 2004, when Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate were on routine training flights about 100 miles off the coast of San Diego over the Pacific Ocean. The men were contacted by the Navy cruiser USS Princeton to investigate a mysterious flying object in their airspace. The Princeton, which was stationed nearby, had been tracking a series of unusual objects for 2 weeks. According to Commander Fravor, the Princeton had observed the object appearing seemingly out of thin air on radar at about 80,000 feet, before rapidly plunging down to 20,000 feet and disappearing from radar entirely. Initially, the pilots could not find the object on their radars or in their line of sight as they approached its location, until they finally spotted an oval aircraft about 40 feet long hovering just above the sea, jumping around erratically and causing the sea underneath it to churn violently. Commander Fravor recalls that as he descended to get a closer look, the object, quote, accelerated like nothing I've ever seen, disappearing only to inexplicably reappear on radar moments later, more than 60 miles away. This video clip shows the mysterious craft as the jets pursued it at about 24,000 feet, capturing its strange motion as it appears to spin in midair with no apparent form of propulsion and accelerates suddenly, unlike any known aircraft. The AATIP analyzed the video, but no formal conclusions or explanations for the unusual oval object captured in the film had been made public. In 2009, after 2 years of operation, Harry Reid argued the program was an extraordinary success and requested to be designated as a, quote, restricted special access program, which would keep the knowledge of its existence and any findings to only a handful of Defense Department officials. That same year, a Pentagon brief on the program noted that, quote, what was considered science fiction is now science fact, and warned that the program had uncovered the existence of technologies, quote, the United States was incapable of defending itself against. In a formal statement, however, a Defense Department spokesperson said the program was terminated in 2012 when it was, quote, determined that there were other, higher priority issues that merited funding. But the program's former leader, Mr. Elizondo, said that despite a lack of funding after 2012, he continued to partner with members of the Navy and CIA to investigate UFO sightings for another 5 years, until he resigned in protest in October 2017. In his resignation letter, Mr. Elizondo implored the Defense Department to devote more time and effort to the cause, writing, many accounts from Navy and other services of unusual aerial systems interfering with military weapon platforms and displaying beyond next-generation capabilities deserve more serious investigation and attention, and arguing the U.S. has a, quote, vital need to ascertain the capability and intent of these phenomena for the benefit of the armed forces and the nation. Mr. Elizondo is confident in his conclusion that the phenomena, quote, did not originate from any country, but does not go as far as concluding the existence of alien life. Most people with knowledge of the secret program's work who were interviewed believe that continued funding and investigation should be a high priority of the United States government. With the defunding of the program, several people involved in the AATIP set out to form a private venture named To the Stars Academy of Art and Science, dedicated to raising money for continued research into UFOs outside the, quote, constraints of bureaucracy. Thus far, the venture has crowdfunded more than $2 million. The executive team is made up of Mr. Elizondo and several former members of the CIA and Department of Defense with UFO research experience, and the company released a statement of a collective belief that, quote, there is sufficient credible evidence of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, that proves exotic technologies exist that could revolutionize the human experience. The Academy ambitiously hopes to use the UFO research to uncover these exotic aerospace technologies and bring them to market. In the meantime, continued public funding for UFO investigations by the U.S. government is uncertain. But according to Mr. Elizondo, a successor was appointed after he resigned from his Pentagon position, indicating the military maintains at least some interest in the work of investigating these incidents, even if the program no longer has an operating budget. On whether the department presently funds or plans to fund UFO research in the future, a spokesperson commented, quote, The Department of Defense takes seriously all threats and potential threats to our people, our assets, and our mission, and takes action whenever credible information is developed. Senator Harry Reid commented when the AATIP became public that, quote, "We don't know the answers, but we have plenty of evidence to support asking the questions. This is about science and national security. The truth is out there. Seriously." For now, we remain in the dark.